I think they have arranged some ragi growl. They are distributing to everybody to uh, adapt this millets in your daily food. I think now it is clear that the millets you can differentiate. Millets are the short grains and cereals are the large grains like rice, maize, and jowar. These are the cereals. They have high starch content, and these millets they are also uh, this carbohydrate rich, but they are less starch and more fiber. Especially they have, I think, this bajra, ragi, and oats, and I think others. Now he has explained, no, other millets they have curse grains. They have this coat, fiber coat is more. They have less starch, and they have more nutrients also. As he was telling, no, vitamins. Not only, I think cereals and millets they are not rich in proteins and fats. Fats are also less, but I think starch is also less. Like this polished rice, the only starch is there, and that is not good for healthy habit. That I think fiber is also important. Now they are called glycemic index. They call, I think, if more glucose is released, glucose to fiber content, it should be less glucose, more fiber content. That is called glycemic index. If more glucose is there, that there will be more pressure on diabetic patients. Insulin cannot be generated. And if you take this cereals, starch is digested and glucose is released, and glucose will circulate inside the blood, and that will damage the tissues, especially blood vessels and others, and it has to be used, that glucose. And as you know, this will generate free radicals. I think free radicals, they will cause inflammation. I think they are peroxide and other uh, which oxidants. They cause damage to cells. And this millets are in a way good because they have rich in less glycemic index, more uh, fiber content, and less glucose, and they will be slowly digested. Slowly glucose is released, and if there is insulin deficiency also, it will not the body will cope up. And if suddenly, I think for you there is no insulin problem, in insulin deficiency problem, and it will be used, this glucose is used, but we are, because of sedentary life, I think more glucose we are consuming, and that is causing this triglycerides start deposited in fatty liver, and other this excess cholesterol, that is causing this cardiac diseases. I think these lifestyle diseases, they are responsible for high carbohydrate. I think this millets is one of the solution. That's what they are suggesting. And not only that, the fiber content is also more. Fibers, there are two types of fibers: soluble fibers and insoluble fibers. Soluble fibers means this pectin and this gums. They are also there. They are soluble in water, and they will in intestine. They will interfere with the fat, and they absorb fat also. They retain fat, and they will not allow fat to be absorbed, so that this cholesterol will not be become a major problem. Cholesterol, not only cholesterol, triglycerides also. Their absorption is interfered with this soluble fibers. And other kind of fibers are also they are insoluble fibers, like cellulose is insoluble fiber, and it is also essential because it is can't be digested. But intestinal bacteria, as you are, there are many bacteria inside your intestine also. They are also responsible for defense, immunity, and other I think many beneficial bacteria, I think milk, digestion of milk and absorption, lactobacillus, they are beneficial bacteria. They naturally grow in our intestine. For them, these fibers are important. That will support to their um, habitat for their survival. This lactobacillus and other beneficial bacteria which synthesize vitamin B12 also, and some other vitamins also in our intestine, if fibers are available. If you do not take fibers, these lactobacillus and other bacteria, their beneficial bacteria, they will not grow, and it will interfere with absorption of iron and other uh, vitamin deficiency diseases. Not only that, if you take antibiotics, you will some diarrhea will come in intestine. E. coli bacteria is also there, and clostridium bacteria is also there. Other bacteria is also, they are not useful bacteria. and we have to maintain balance between useful bacteria and harmful bacteria. If you do not take this fiber, and if sometimes if you take antibiotics, useful bacteria will die, and this clostridium, this and other bacteria, they cause diarrhea, and E. coli also, they also cause diarrhea if their number increases. E. coli naturally occurs in colon, intestine, but whenever there is uh, um, this, that's why we call it as probiotics nowadays. This probiotic card that will support lactobacillus and other useful bacteria in your intestine, so that will reduce the harmful bacteria, and balance will be maintained between useful bacteria and harmful bacteria. This microflora of intestine has to be maintained so that the diarrhea will not be there, and mineral absorption will be there, and that will reduce cholesterol absorption, and other many other lifestyle diseases will be controlled by you taking millets, because they are rich in fiber diet, and that will not only this, they are rich in nutrients, like he was suggesting many vitamins, niacin and thiamine, they are coenzymes in our human body, biological reactions. Coenzymes, cofactors, they many all biological reactions occur without these vitamins. And potassium is also important. Potassium functioning of this nervous system, and this heart functioning, potassium, and neurons, how this transmission takes place, the sodium potassium movement only, cells they store potassium and they release, so that the signal transduction takes place in nervous system as well as heart. If potassium deficiency is there, our heart rate will reduce. And these the millets are rich in potassium and other iron and other minerals. That's why we have to take millets, and ragi and other millets. They are uh, uh, good for your health, maintaining. Uh, or not only that, these free radicals are also generated, and they damage your cells. Especially they react with proteins, lipids, nucleic acids. These free radicals, peroxides, and other oxidants, they have to be reduced by taking this plant-based uh, vegetables and other uh, plant-based foods, natural foods. They will have more flavonoids. They will have antioxidants like glutathione and other. They will reduce the antioxidants. Basically, if your DNA is healthy, your aging will be controlled. If your DNA damages, you will become aging takes place fast. I think you must have read newspaper. In Japan, one person lived up to 150 years by taking leaves, vegetables, and fish, not taking other carbohydrate food or other food. Like that, the plant-based, what I want to say, this plant natural foods, they reduce antioxidants. Not only that, because of these pollutants, many these free radicals are generated in our body, especially exposure to radiation, exposure to chemical pollution, exposure to smoke, exposure to these chemicals, drugs, and pesticides. We are consuming and inhaling. They are in turn causing this internally, due to many biological reactions. Antioxidants are produced inside the body, and they damage the cells and tissues, and in turn interfere with DNA also sometimes. If DNA is damaged, then that may cause cancer also, cancer sometimes. And DNA, if DNA is healthy, all proteins are synthesized normally, all cell functions will be, all enzymes are produced normally, all your body functions, metabolic functions are normally carried out. If DNA itself is damaged and the metabolism is reduced, all of, cellular functions, all biological functions are interfered, and that is the reason for aging. And if your DNA is protected, and that's why that person in Japan who lived natural, taking natural food without any pollution, he lived for 150 years. And that is the reason the DNA controls everything, and we have to reduce. That's why many in Japan I have seen, they extract leaf extracts and they drink instead of water. that contain flavonoids that will reduce antioxidant that act as antioxidant, and so that the normal there won't be any inflammation. And this cardiac diseases also, this heart attack you hear, those who smoke, they drink, they will be more affected, because in smokers, those who drink, this peroxide, this antioxidants are produced inside the blood. Antioxidants, they cause inflammation. Inflammation, whenever any foreign body enters in your body, that causes inflammation. Inflammation means that wherever it is affected, where histamine is produced by cells. This is a defensive mechanism. Histamine is produced. Some foreign body enters, some injury occurs. Cells release immediately histamine to dilate the blood vessel. If blood vessels are dilated, what will happen? Blood will flow to that interstitial space where infection has occurred, where injury has occurred. So that these lymphocytes, monocytes, they also enter, because these tight junctions, gap junctions are there in cells. They will hold the blood vessels. When histamine is released, then the dilation will take place, and blood is released into that space, and this lot of reactions will take place. This white blood cells, they attack the foreign bacteria and other cells, and they involve in this dead cells also have to be killed. They have to be removed. This antioxidants also, they also do inflammation. They react with cell body cells. They damage the tissues, so that wherever damage is there in blood vessels, the those areas, this fats are deposited, so that these blood vessels are constricted, and that is the reason for this occurrence of this atherosclerosis or heart attack, heart stroke. These are the lifestyle diseases basically. And the drinking and smoking should be avoided to reduce inflammation, and to uh, deposition of fat in your blood vessels, so that this constriction cannot be constriction of blood vessels can be avoided, so that your body will function normally. That and millets also in a way aiding, because they have less fat, and they have more fiber, less glycemic index. All these are beneficial effects of millets, as he was presenting. And I think I will not deviate. Then he has given a specific topic, and this has come. Their food has come, and I think you have to wait for some time. Or they can let them serve, and because they are all of them, we are waiting for that only. And I think all of you are this mission life program, working on it. All of you are. I think some photographs they are uh, uploading, and I think if you have any new ideas, they can you can come forward, and because it is centrally monitored, we have to fulfill our targets. And Dr. Kavi Siddhartha is coming with very innovative ideas. Very daily is coming with one program, but he can't do alone. No, we have to support him, and so that we all together we will complete. And he's planning more programs also. I think this is a good sign that all of you are supporting him and joining him. And earlier there used to be less support for that any government programs or any such activities, but I think uh, we have to encourage him. If you want to